Hello, beautiful kings and queens. How are you doing? How are you feeling? It's another day and we made it. Let's take a minute to take a beautiful deep breath. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. Let's just do two more. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. All right, one more time. It's been a long day. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. All right. Whew. With everything that's going on, it reminded me as to why I left America. I'm back here now, but we ain't going to talk about all that. I do want to share my story though and my experience of what I learned living outside of America. So I actually left and lived in Belize for a while. Beautiful, beautiful country. I will share more videos on my experience living in Belize. But for now, I'm going to share what I learned living outside of America. All right, so let's get started. So, number one, our food is poison. I'm going to just say it straight. Our food is poison. The food I was able to eat in Belize was fresh, full of life. Have you ever experienced eating a banana and then feeling this strange feeling inside of your mouth or in your throat? Maybe it was just me. Maybe I'm allergic. I don't know. But I never experienced that in Belize. And then coming back, I purchased an organic banana and I still have these problems. And it's like something's off. All right. Look, read between the lines. Y'all know what I'm saying without saying. I'm not trying to get canceled this early. Something's off with the food, and this isn't a surprise. Like, you are able to go to places like the UK, and the produce and the foods that you buy there would be completely different than what we have here in America. You will notice that the ingredients are less. Why do we have all these xanthan gums and all this weird stuff in our food? I'm like, if I can't pronounce the ingredients, I ain't eating it. Okay. In fact, I've recently transitioned to just, well, working on eating solely whole foods, aka one ingredient foods, right? So if I need some cashews, I'm going to purchase some cashews. But when I look on the back of that wrapper, it better says ingredients cashews. If I see xanthan gum, exorbic acid, all that other stuff, I don't want it. Y'all can keep it. Right? So that's one thing that I learned is that our food is poisonous. When I was out there, I was able to eat foods and veggies and I was thriving. I felt that I had my most optimal health, right? And then, coming back, I was eating some of the foods and realized my body was reacting to it in a really interesting way. I'm like, I'm eating the same exact thing I was eating in Belize. So what's the problem? So, you have to do what you have to do, right? But, that is one thing that really stood out to me. And it's a disappointment, but that's that. Our food is poison. Another thing that I learned was how heavy racism was on my person. When I went to Belize, which is a majority Black and Mayan country, I realized that I didn't have this extra fear. I wasn't holding on to this extra armor as I was engaging and going around the country and meeting the people. Even when I seen police officers pull up, I didn't fear for my life, right? I didn't have any type of fear. I didn't feel that I had to follow specific laws. Um, and I didn't notice how heavy it was weighing on me until I left America. I didn't know it was in me so deeply. I realized that although we may not experience racism on our day to day, the idea of living in a place or in a country to where it is still so prevalent to know that you have to have your guard up just in case, that's, I learned that that's a reality, right? And I didn't realize how heavy it was weighing on me in my day to day until I left. So much so when I came back, I forgot about the idea of racism completely, you know? So when I was experiencing interesting things where, I have certain people looking at me a strange way, or I will say hi and won't even get a response back. I'm like, "Oh, that is a thing. I forgot." That's one thing that stood out to me, and I'm like, "Wow, that I didn't realize." You know, how heavy it is to carry something like that all the time. But, you know, it is what it is. Another thing that I learned living outside of America is that we in America have this toxic hustle culture. And the reason being is that we're all just trying to make ends meet. We're all just trying to get our coin and mind our business. But there's so much stress around it because, we have systems in place. Ooh, I was supposed to say, don't get me started. That could be another video. But we have systems in place that enable us or disable us from being able to bring in the appropriate amount of money to survive, let alone thrive here in this country. I'm talking to my people. Y'all know who y'all are. I'm talking to my people. Um, so it's like, we have to do what we got to do to make ends meet, right? So where most of us are having 2 to 3 jobs trying to put food on the table for our children. All I'm gonna say is that here in America, there's a lot of hustle, bustle, grind, get your money type energy. But what I didn't know was all the stresses that is compounded onto my person because of it. Living in Belize, whew, there was a calm. Everyone took things so easy. It was a slow flow of just we just living life. And for the first time seeing that up close, I said, "Oh, this I could get used to this." So as a person that who has been in an environment where everything is go 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 go, to finally be in an environment where it's like, "Oh, no, it's okay. We just taking our time, living our lives, going with the flow." It was so refreshing, and I didn't know at the time, but it was so healing. I needed that. I needed to see that perspective to know that we're not supposed to be grinding like this. There's no way we're supposed to be putting in this much work to survive. There's just no way. That's one of the big lessons that I ended up getting out of living outside of America. Another thing that I learned was how disconnected we are. And when we're living in these concrete jungles, we lose sight in our true nature, right? Because we're not in nature. So, when I was in Belize, I was constantly surrounded by tropical greenery, by animals, insects. Yes, it was a lot of bugs, but that's how it's supposed to be. That's the divine way. It's like here in America, we're so disconnected because we're surrounded by concrete. Instead of us going to sleep, listening to the communications of nature, the chirping of the crickets, we're instead listening to trucks and cars driving on concrete 24/7, right? Just think about what those vibrations are doing to our persons, to our beings. One thing I loved about Belize was that, you know, the Belizean people, such a beautiful people. They're able to go in the bush and look at plants and say, "Hey, this plant could heal you here. Hey, if you get bit by a snake, eat this plant here. It will help. Hey, if you have, high blood pressure, this, that, and the other, take these herbs, eat these fruits, soursop, like drink some soursop juice. Like that is abundance, right? Being able to live in accordance to nature and be able to allow nature to heal you when need be. We're lacking that here in America tremendously. And yes, there are some places that, you could find some nice off the grid, off the bat places, but a majority of the places in America, especially the ones that I'm talking about, are the cities, the places where you're doing a lot of the hustling and the bustling, right? The last thing that I learned living outside of America is that America's dream is not my dream. I don't dream to live inside of this picket fenced reality, right? Where I'm working day and night to make someone else richer, to where all the food that I eat has to come from someone else because I have no control over the food that I have, right? What kind of dream is that? That ain't my dream. If I'm gonna be real, the American dream is another person's dream implanted in other people so that it could become a reality for them. I'm starting to learn what my dream is. The more I travel, the more I connect with like minds. And this isn't it. So, anyways, my kings and queens, those are some of the things that I've learned living outside of America. And if you have any questions, comments, or want to learn a bit more about what it's like living outside of America or what my experience was living in Belize, let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please subscribe, share the love. I would appreciate you, and I hope to see you again. All right, peace and love.